Tamrus is an agility-based warrior class hero from the Wilder faction who specializes in controlling his enemies, and in today's video we're going to take a look at his skills and abilities, his teams and uses, and whether or not it's worth investing in this hero, so let's get into it. His ultimate ability is Pain Wheel. For this one he's going to spin around violently, dealing damage to nearby enemies. Now for each different enemy within range, he will spin an additional time up to 4 times, and each spin increases the range. Then when he stops spinning, he's going to deal additional damage to his enemies, and he is also immune to control effects while using this skill. On top of that, when he does hit an enemy with his final attack, it will interrupt them for 1 second. Next we have Earthbreaker. For this one he's going to jump high into the air and then dive kick the area with the most enemy heroes, dealing damage and knocking them airborne. On top of that, he is immune to control effects while using this skill, and he will use this immediately upon entering a battle. His passive Infectious Enthusiasm is going to give him a buff for every 1 enemy nearby him, up to 5 stacks, and each stack is going to increase his dodge and magic suppression. On top of that, each time he does dodge or suppress enemy damage, it will shorten the cooldown of his Earthbreaker ability by 0.2 seconds. And then we have Get Over Here. For this one, he's going to throw his grappling hook at the 2 furthest enemies, dealing damage to them and reducing their attack, whilst also pulling them to his location. For his signature item at base and level 10, enemies hit by his Get Over Here ability will have their tenacity permanently reduced throughout the battle. Then at level 20, any stacks of enthusiasm he receives will last until the end of the battle, and at level 30, he immediately receives 5 stacks of enthusiasm at the start of battle, and the maximum stacks becomes 10. For his furniture ability, Play With Me, for each stack of enthusiasm he has, it will grant his allied heroes dodge and magic suppression. And then at level 9, each stack of enthusiasm he has will increase the attack rating of all allied heroes by 4%. And finally we have his engravings. At level 30, when he deals damage, the target's going to lose additional health equal to 1% of their lost health for each stack of enthusiasm that he has, up to a maximum of 20% of his attack rating. However, it can only be triggered once every 3 seconds for each enemy. And then at level 60, enemies who have been pulled in by his Get Over Here ability will no longer be able to attack or use their skills for 2.5 seconds. The ability of Tamrus to combine his Earthbreaker ability, putting him in the middle of the enemy group, and his Get Over Here ability to drag in the remaining enemies allows him to really group an entire team up, which makes him fantastic in several teams, pairing him with units that like the enemies also to be grouped up, whether it be for control or damage purposes. In this video, we're going to take a look at Tamrus paired with Mulan, as they have a great synergy together. Mulan is going to charge forward at the start of the battle, interrupting 3 enemies in the middle. Tamrus will jump to them and drag the remaining enemies in towards him. Mulan protects him at the start of the battle, and then he gets all the enemies grouped up so that Mulan can control them and deal damage. Now in the front row of this one, we have Mishka and Gorvo. Units like Vathale and Geralt are fantastic in these positions, but if you don't have them, you can get away with some of these other options. Then finally in this one, we have Joan of Arc as our sustain unit in the team, but the core of this team really is Mulan and Tamrus, and you can change around the other heroes depending on what you have in your roster. So as the battle starts, we charge in, we interrupt them, we group all the enemies up, and now we're good to go. This may take a couple of retries depending on RNG of enemy skills, but normally you can control and lock out the enemies and allow Mulan to achieve the victory. If Tamrus does die after his initial grouping of the enemies, it's not always a big issue because his purpose has been served. As for artifacts on Tamrus, there's no one specific needed artifact. You can get away with something like Jura's Eye or Test Carnage or Chaos Bringer, but in general he can serve his purpose without relying too much on any one artifact. So with all that out of the way, how far do we want to invest into Tamrus? The great thing about him is that you can have 0 investment into his signature item, furniture, or engravings and still get him to serve a supportive function where he jumps on the enemies and groups them up. All of his signature item, furniture, and engravings are going to increase his team's mitigation and damage and can be scaled up depending on how much you use him and how much you want to invest. But in general, you can focus on other units on all 3 investments first before looking towards having to invest into Tamrus. So that is going to be it for Tamrus, a fantastic supportive unit that can group your enemies up and allow your teammates to really do what they do best. And the greatest part about it is, once again, that he doesn't require too much investment to serve his purpose. As always, guys, thanks for watching. We hope you have an awesome day, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.